A very good afternoon. It's the 19th of November 2021. You're watching Lunchtime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. Now, before we head on to our stories in detail, here are your headlines for this afternoon.
Enjoining order suspending payment for the stock of Chinese fertilizer extended until the 30th. Who imported nanonitrogen from India for a higher price than the market price? Debate in Parliament. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces the withdrawal of 3 controversial farm laws. 160,000 booster jabs administered for COVID-19 thus far.
In your lead story this afternoon, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa paid a visit to the historic Sri Mahabodhiya in Anuradhapura today and obtained blessings.
After his visit to the Sri Mahabodhiya, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa also called on the chief incumbent of the Atamasthana, Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Thero, and obtained blessings. The president, who presented the Kiriyahara Puja to the Sri Mahabodhiya, engaged in a friendly discussion with the devotees at the premises.
In a headline-making story this afternoon, the Commercial High Court today extended the enjoining order preventing the People's Bank from making the payment for the letters of credit for the stock of organic fertilizer from Qingdao Sivin Biotech Group. Now, the order has been extended to the 30th of this month.
The 2 cases filed by the state fertilizer companies in connection with the Chinese organic fertilizer were taken up for consideration again today before Commercial High Court judges Pradeep Etiarachi and Priyanth Fernando. The local representative of the Chinese company has filed a written objection in the Colombo Commercial High Court today regarding this case. Organic fertilizer samples from China's Qingdao Sivin Biotech Group Company Limited tested for the presence of harmful pathogens, not once but twice in tests carried out by Sri Lanka's National Plant Quarantine Service. The Agriculture Ministry not only rejected the Chinese fertilizer but also went to the extent of issuing an order to deny entry to the ship carrying the consignment from entering Sri Lankan ports. However, the Hippo Spirit ship carrying 20,000 metric tons of Chinese organic fertilizer remains near Sri Lankan waters.
Views regarding the fertilizer crisis were expressed in Parliament today. We saw yesterday on the news that Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage stating that he is not involved and that a scam had taken place. He accepts that fertilizer, which was priced at $3, was brought down for $12.5 and that they are going to reduce it to $10. He is not involved in bringing down fertilizer. It is the Fertilizer Secretariat that is involved here, and he is providing information that he is getting from them. Then who is the thief? Is it Shashindra Rajapaksa? It has to be revealed. I request the minister to reveal the names of those people. When we were told that there was a scam, we were challenged. We know that it is okay if Mahindananda Alutgamage respects his master, but he does not have to hide the thief for his master's nephew. The people of the country are not accusing him. Now what has happened to Mahindananda is that he has been made to be Sri Sangabodhi. I feel sorry for the minister. He is falling into trouble by covering up mistakes made by others. The corn cultivation in Mahaoya Ampara is being destroyed by the Sena caterpillar menace. The farmers of Mahaoya Ampara largely cultivate corn throughout the year. The farmers say the harvest was not at a satisfactory level throughout the season due to the lack of fertilizer and pesticides.
Even though we cultivated, the harvest is unsuccessful because the crop is of poor quality. This is because the plants did not receive proper nutrition due to the lack of fertilizer. This is the size of corn that was harvested this season. As you can see, this is of extremely poor quality. What can we do with these crops? We would not have faced this dire situation if we had access to fertilizer. The harvest would have been plentiful.
We can't sell our crops because they are malnourished due to the lack of fertilizer. The harvest is of extremely poor quality. No one will purchase this. It was also reported that crops have been destroyed by the Sena caterpillar.
There are pesticides in the market, but they are useless to combat the Sena caterpillar problem because they are of such poor quality. We are asking the authorities to provide us with a solution to this problem.
Now, in a development from neighbouring India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the withdrawal of 3 controversial farm laws after almost a year-long nationwide protests by a large section of the country's farming community. In a 20-minute address to the nation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote, "We have decided to repeal all 3 farm laws. We will start the constitutional process to repeal all the 3 laws in the parliament session that starts at the end of this month," unquote. Also in news from the parliamentary complex, Samagi Janabalawega MP Lakshman Kiryala alleges that Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa has failed to be present at the parliament for the 5th day of the second reading of the budget proposal.
The minister is absent today. He wasn't there yesterday either. This is an insult to the parliament. Important questions are being asked. There is no one to answer them. I think the chief opposition whip has a unique disease. When you ask after his name from his party members, they refer to him in a more derogative name. I'm talking about the parliament traditions. The Minister of Finance has to be here. I have asked 2 questions. How does the government pay off the debt? And how will they earn dollars? We got no answers. This is a disgrace to the parliament. The chief opposition whip is the only person insulting the parliament. We requested him to present the questions he has. He has not done that.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Professor G.L. Pires says international assistance will be obtained to build the country through a policy framework that is not limited to only one group in the future. Minister G.L. Pires expressed the following views on the program carried out by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, focusing on the economic revival in the country.
We cannot
continue to obtain loans as a country. In order to do that, we must focus on other ways to earn our capital. Investments, trade, tourism, and then the income brought by our migrant workers are some of the ways we can focus in order to increase our capital. We have opened our borders. Tourists have already started coming into the country. Accordingly, we have now created a situation where we can deal with the outer world. Even the UK Prime Minister has appointed an agent to focus on trade deals with us. This is a great novel opportunity for us. Then on the tourism sector, we should focus on new tourism methods. For example, the environmental tourism sector. We can coordinate with our diplomatic missions and promote it. We're also focusing on increasing our scope when it comes to our migrant workers. Earlier, with the pandemic situation, Korea announced that they will only allow migrant workers who had been working there for a long time to come back and work in their country. But we protested against that move, and today we have been able to rectify those misunderstandings. A high-profile delegation from the European Union visited our country to discuss on the GSP Plus issue. We were able to show them our stance and explain to them on the mechanism we have put out to rectify those misunderstandings. I think there won't be any issue in this regard. When it comes to our foreign policy, we are of the stance that we must have equal diplomatic relationships with every country in the world. We must have a good diplomatic relationship with India. We must not forget China as well. They helped us a lot developing our infrastructure. 65% of our exports are being sent to the Western world, which means our ties with USA and Europe are vital. All our diplomatic missions are now focused on economic diplomacy. That aspect will be their priority.
බටහිර යුරෝපයට හා ඇමරිකානු එක්සත් ජනපදයට ඒ සම්බන්ධතා වැදගත් වෙනවා. අපි උපදෙස් දෙනවා. අපේ සියලුම විදේශ කාර්යාලවලට තානාපති කාර්යාලවලට economic diplomacy is the priority. ඒක තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අරමුණ.
Now shifting your attention towards the COVID-19 situation in the country, 18,460 people were administered the booster shot of the COVID-19 vaccine yesterday. With that, a total of 161,340 people have received the booster shot. Under the COVID-19 vaccination program in the country, 15,897,388 people have been inoculated with the first dose of the vaccine. 13,907,775 people were inoculated with the second dose of the vaccine.
Yesterday we gave the Pfizer first dose to 2,999 people. With that, the total number of people who have received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine moved up to 1,520,001. Then we have administered the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine to 416 people yesterday. Accordingly, we have administered the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine to 453,202 people in the country. Yesterday, we administered the third dose of the Pfizer vaccine to 18,460 people. With that, the total number of third doses of the Pfizer vaccine administered moves up to 163,789.
යනු ලබා දුන් මුළු සංඛ්‍යාව 1,63,789ක් හැටියට වාර්තා වෙනවා.
As the government, we have done everything possible. 75% of the people in the country are already inoculated with the vaccine. I think there are only few countries in the world with these statistics. Also, we have commenced the booster vaccine drive as well. Now it's all up to the people. Their behavior will be a decisive factor. The only thing we can do in this regard is to inform the public. We hope the public will adhere to our requests. We should move on as a country with the new normal. France, Germany and Russia went to another lockdown due to another COVID outbreak. This is the current situation in the world. People play a vital role in this. Therefore, we think the people should be prepared to make sacrifices.
Also taking a look at some news related to the human-elephant conflict in the country. Residents of Pusgova Madadumbara in Kandy have been severely affected by the wild elephants in the area.
The main form of livelihood for the people in Pusgova is agriculture. Elephants that raid villages destroy their cultivations. We can't cultivate and put food on our table because of this elephant menace. We cultivated an acre of bananas and an acre of coconut. None of it has been left by the elephants. Elephants come to the village around 6:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. The main reason for the elephants to enter villages is the lack of an electric fence along the Victoria Reservoir. Although the authorities were informed, no clear solution has been provided as of now. These days, wild elephants raid the village daily. The residents urge the authorities to maintain the electric fence appropriately.
The longest partial lunar eclipse in 580 years will take place today. Director of Astronomy and Space Science Unit of the Department of Physics at the Colombo University, Professor Chandana Jairatna said, however, it will not be visible to Sri Lanka. He added that the eclipse is visible to a large part of the world for countries in America, North Europe, East Asia, Australia and the Pacific, including the east part of India. The eclipse began at 11:32 a.m. and will end at 5:33 p.m. today. Professor Chandana Jairatna added that on the 4th of December, there will be a total solar eclipse. A new alms hall was renovated and vested with the Guru Kumburu temple in the Mahiyangane Adivasi village. The project was carried out by Gammadda.
The project was conducted in partnership with EFL Sri Lanka. The leader of the Dambana indigenous community, Uruvarge Vanila Atto, was also present at the opening ceremony. The alms hall renovated under this project is expected to serve 800 families in the area, including 400 indigenous communities.
Moving on to your weather advisory for the day, the Met Department says the showery condition is expected to reduce from today. Several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Uva and eastern provinces and in the Polonnaruwa district during the evening or night. The Met Department requests the general public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Moving on to news overseas, deforestation in Brazil's Amazon rainforest has hit its highest level in over 15 years.